Namaskar. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Legionaries. And today's episode, we will discuss more about wine because today's our guest his background is wine. So when we look at the world of wine, we majorly distinguish between a old world and a new world. So majorly when we say old world, we speak about Europe, and when we speak about new world, we talk about rest of the world who are producing wines. So when we'll see the new world, South Africa play a very vital role in the scenario. Today, our guest is from South Africa, especially he is from Robertson region of South Africa. Phillip is the current CEO of Loveren Winery. Loveren Vineyards is one of the leading family-owned vineyards from South Africa. When you look at Phillip, he is a chartered accountant by profession, and he joined the business in 1998. And the best part is that in last 15 years, he increased the turnaround of the company 12 times. Hi Phillip, welcome to the show.
Hello Malay, lovely being here and thank you for that introduction.
So how are you? How is everything there?
Everything's well. I mean, we're all working within the new realities of the world and life. But other than that, other than COVID and those realities, everything's well. We've just come out of a very good harvest. As you know, the Southern Hemisphere, we finish our harvest February to April. So yeah, it was a very good harvest. And so we've got good building blocks to work with over the next 24 months.
Interesting. So Phillip, I want you to share about yourself and the company with our viewers.
Yeah, Malay, there's a short version and a long version, and I'll try to keep it concise. We're a family business, as you mentioned. We try to communicate ourselves as a leading family private business in South Africa. It's been in the family since 1937. Started up with my grandfather as a very small farming unit, diverse fruits, etc. And then when my dad and my uncle joined in the 60s, they started making wine. Most of it was fortified wine. We didn't have cold fermentation at that stage where we could produce the quality wines we wanted to. And then in 1980, we launched the Van Loveren brand. It was named after a lady from the Netherlands that came to South Africa in 1699. She was the ancestor of my grandmother. So that was the relationship to the name. And that's really where our path of growth started in 1980 when we converted from a production-driven business to a trademark-driven business being supported by production. And it's actually just been 40 years old, the brand, and in that 40 years there's another few stories to tell with regards to the different brands and how we've grown over these years as a family. And at the moment, the third generation very much involved. We're leading the business. Me myself, Phillip, as you've mentioned, my brother Neil, he's on the production side, farming. My cousin Henny, he's also doing a large part of our production for us, and then my cousin Basil, which heads up our winery and logistics department as the cellar master. So we would be the four directors of the company. But as you've mentioned, we've been very fortunate to grow quite a bit and significantly over the last 15 years. And our team and our employees and our colleagues have also expanded during this time, and it's also learned us a lot more about running a business other than just being hands-on and operationally involved.
You know, Phillip, while you are talking now, behind my mind, I can see those pictures when I visited Van Loveren last time, and the vineyard is fantastic. I think that wine tasting facility is also really nice. I think you must tell more about that, Christina, that restaurant that you have next to the wine testing facility.
Yeah, as I've mentioned, Malay, and yeah, you were here, you've been here twice now, and that's how we were introduced to the Indian market by WSCI, and yeah, thank you for that again. But yes, we're a trademark business now, and as we all refer to the pyramid or the triangle, where you've got the high value ultra premium wines at the top, and at the bottom you've got your more volume driven popular premium wines, and in the middle you've got lifestyle, heritage, traditional, and all those. And we believe that we can play in all these different sectors. It's almost as if the wine industry caters for quite a few different consumers, and depending on obviously what the price point is, what the style is, and what the quality is, you will knock on some consumers' door with one brand and others with another. And yes, wine tourism is a big part of building wine brand, building those stories. We're about 150 kilometers from Cape Town, a 90-minute drive direct east, just for your guests, to give it a bit of perspective. And yes, tourism is I think one of your best ways of creating the awareness around your brand. And with that, you've got the wine tasting facility, we've got the historic garden, and then we've got the Christina restaurant also within that. So we try and keep the customer or the visitor or the tourist here for as long as possible, let them experience who and what we are about, and hopefully they in the process fall in love with the wines. A lot of local tourists, obviously, from South Africa at the moment, not many foreign tourists, but yeah, maybe in a year or two's time, when everything normalizes, Cape Town will become popular for international visitors, and so will we also get that benefit of visitors coming to Van Loveren.
Nice. You know, Philip, we are in 2021, and just 21 years before, in 2000, the year 2000, you started something really spectacular. You, along with your three cousins, you started a brand, or you coined a brand called the Four Cousins. And today, this is one of the highest selling still wine or the brand in glass bottle. How this idea came into your mind about Four Cousins, and how is it doing now?
Yeah, you're quite right, Malay. It's been a fantastic story for us, a fantastic building block as part of our growth phase. Yeah, we the four of us joined the business all in the 90s, the mid 90s. And then, yeah, we just came up with this idea that, I mean, we had sufficient production and we didn't have a large enough market with our Van Loveren brand at that stage. And we identified that there was a consumer out there that wanted to enjoy wine, but was not necessarily as serious as wine as many people or many consumers or many wine pundits would think. And we launched the brand Four Cousins, us being four cousins, obviously, two sets of brothers. Just got involved as young men in the business at that time. We launched it in a 1.5 litre Magnum, which was quite unique. At that stage, it was working in the Americas, but in our world of wine, it was only premium wine that you got in Magnums, sold at auctions and maybe for gifting. And we were the first wine available, Four Cousins, then as a commercial proposition in a 1.5 litre. And I think the size played a role. South Africa was in a good economic growth phase. There were a lot of new wine consumers entering the market. And the other point of difference was that we made it in a sweeter style. So we used very good quality wine, but we sweetened it with grape must or grape juice. So slightly lower alcohol, but the palate was sweeter, and it was, as I can almost say, unpretentious. And I think all these factors, the bottle, the quality, the style of the wine, and the name Four Cousins resonated with the consumer. There are a lot of wine names out there in the world, as we all know, and many of them aren't easy to pronounce or remember. And Four Cousins was maybe just spot on at the time, and that definitely also played a part. And then the last thing that we did was we actually put our four faces on the label, which is, in terms of market research or MBA guidance or normal marketing principles, not necessarily the right thing to do. And we got a bit of resistance initially. I didn't want to put my face on a bottle of wine. I said, let's do a black and white drawing or abstract drawing or something, and the other guy said, "No, let's go with a picture." And it was before technology. I mean, before mobile phones, and we literally went to our photo albums and we cut and pasted four pictures. And that's our four cousins, the label and the bottle and the style and the packaging evolved. It took a while to take off, but there was initial signs that it was something, that there was something brewing, if I can put it that way. And launching in 2000, I think in 2005 it started. 5 years later in the local market, it really got a big following in that 2005 to 2008 season, if you can put it that way. And yeah, we became the #1 selling brand in glass in South Africa, which was phenomenal for us. And it awakened all the big competitors, as you can imagine. Everybody suddenly wanted to sit around the table and produce a similar wine, a similar style wine positioning. So the early phase, the first 8 to 10 years, was almost the easy phase, if I can put it that way. The past 10 years has been slightly more difficult. The brand is still strong, it's still doing well. But yeah, there's a lot of competitors in that environment now, and many playing on price, trying to have a slice of that market share.
I tasted this wine first time in Hong Kong, and believe me, in next 5 minutes, I was very clear that this wine is going to come to India soon. You know, for me, Four Cousins is like a stepping stone to the world of wine, because it is crisp, it is young, and with a natural sweet variant. The alcohol percentage is 8 to 8.5%. So it's a great pocket-friendly wine, and which can be easily a stepping stone to the world of wine. So thank you so very much for producing this wine for us.
Yeah, thank you. I agree, Malay. I mean, with WSA, we brought it to India. I think it's still in its infant shoes, and if we can replicate what's happened in South Africa and other parts of Africa at the moment, in India, yes, I think the consumer is there, the specific consumer that you're referring to, young consumer, women, ladies, people that want something more palatable. Absolutely, it is an unpretentious wine, and it is a stepping stone for many into the world of wine, as you say.
Philip, for generations you are producing wine, but when you became the CEO, now you have cream liqueur in your portfolio, you have beer in your portfolio, you have spirits in your portfolio. So what is that thought behind?
Yeah, I think there's two answers to that story, Malay. We in wine, obviously wine is in the liquor. So we said we understand wine, and we tried our hand at these products that you've mentioned now. Some of them, the beer, we do on a very craft, small niche basis. The spirits we've tried, but the competitor set is too strong. We know of all the international brands on brandy and whiskey. So we've actually taken a small step back on that. We're focusing on craft gin. So I think the craft side of the world outside of wine is where we are finding ourselves, to try and build something commercial in that sphere and compete with the multinationals out there. It's at this stage not necessarily plausible. But yeah, the other exciting parts which you started with was the cream liqueurs. Cream liqueur out of South Africa, and Africa has done historically very well, and yeah, that's a very exciting prospect as part of our diversification. So yes, you can diversify into agriculture, on agriculture, as we do with some fruits that we plant. But in liquor, we also want to diversify within the wine sector and outside of the wine sector into other, let's say, call it smaller niche markets at this stage.
Okay, Philip, year 2020, and we never expected, we never thought, we never heard about something like COVID-19. You know, if I'll say myself, I was in February 2020, I was traveling in Wine Paris. So, you know, we never expected COVID will be that huge and it will give such a dent to the mankind. It's not about any country or any subcontinent or any continent in particular, but it is a dent to the whole mankind. So when you heard COVID for the first time, What was your reaction?
Yeah, I've got a personal take on that. I don't think we have to go into that. I think all our opinions have maybe changed over the past 14 months, understanding the realities better. But let's focus on the business side and the impact that it has had and still has. When we heard of it initially, say January, February last year, 2020, maybe brushed it off and I thought it was going to something seasonal flu will pass on. And then somewhere early in March, it was my last travels. I think I was up in Johannesburg coming back from Nigeria. And it was 13 March. I can remember the date. It was the Friday the 13th, ironically. And then the news and the noise in South Africa was getting louder and bigger. And that Monday morning, the 16th, we, the 4 cousins and directors, actually had a meeting about COVID specifically. I mean, not understanding it then, but certainly identifying the potential risks on the tourist industry, on consumption patterns, and on our own business. So we were. I think we can say that we were good at our reaction because we were quick, we were nimble, we were agile, we were adjustable, adaptable, and literally before our president later that month, on the 23rd of March, made his first speech and saying that we were going into a hard lockdown on the 28th of March, we had already implemented quite significant, operational changes or realities to our business. And so that has stood us very, very strong during last year. As you might know, or maybe not your listeners, South Africa specifically, we were closed, the liquor industry, for 4.5 months out of the following 12 months. So we were almost closed for 40% of normal trading hours. So liquor was closed down as part of the hard lockdowns. And at that point, when we made these decisions, we didn't know that was coming. But yes, I think the fact that given the size of our company, given the fact that we're private, and we're a very flat structure, we could make decisions very quickly, and those most have come in very, very helpful over the past 12 months.
I think business that suffered big time. So you yourself is not only the CEO of Loveren, but you are director and in senior position of many other South African organizations like Wine of South Africa or that BKK, that bottling unit and all those. So, how you people really manage the situation, manage the dent?
Yeah, I think your business, I mean, it was interesting how quick it was. We knew we were going to lockdown, but the day before lockdown, we heard that liquor was closing. So suddenly you need to close your restaurants, your tasting facilities, your bottling plants. You're not allowed to transport wine. The bottle stores are closing. So literally it's like a light switch on and off. And we acted, I think, well. We communicated well with our people, our colleagues, our teams. And as I said, we were already in the mode then of implementing some of these ideas. The impact on the larger industry, everybody potentially not as quick as we were. And the industry definitely is feeling the brunt of that as we speak. I apologize for the noise. There's a truck loading just outside my window, but it will be gone now. And the impact of all this has meant that we are sitting in South Africa with a significant surplus of wine. We've had the 2020 harvest. I mentioned the 2021 harvest, which was good. We are sitting on more wine today than we've ever had in our history in tank. And this is obviously needs to go somewhere at some point. I believe that our business, the way we've acted, has put us at the front of that wave, if I can put it that way. And there is a wave that is going to break on the industry. And unfortunately, not all businesses might survive it due to the fact that we are sitting with these huge amounts of stock. Wines of South Africa, in April, May last year, we were closed. We weren't allowed to transport wine, so we couldn't export wine. So that was a further knock-on effect on the local market. And BBK, our bottling plants. I mean, we bottle for 40 different wineries. I think the important thing out of all of this is that we can, with pride, say that we managed to maintain all our staff. We kept everybody employed. We could see out this crisis within the South African environment in wine, and that we are now hopefully bouncing back. I wouldn't say to where we were. I also don't want to say we are bouncing back to a new normal. We need to bounce back to a new future, and exactly what that future is going to entail, time will tell. But we are at least aware about what's going on around us, and we can, due to the fact that we can adapt and be quick, agile, nimble, that is playing to our benefit.
Phillip, this show is not only about the end consumer, but this is also for that small and medium scale industries, for those owners. So I want to know from your perspective, what should be the message for everybody, that what we should do, how, we are naming it COVID, but it can be anything. So for future purpose also, what will be your message for everybody, that how we people will be, pandemic ready for our industry?
We definitely, I would say we are a large, medium business. We're not at the large scale. And, Malay, it impacts all of us. And I think your business model before this pandemic and before this black swan event plays a crucial part in terms of how your business model will play out going forward. And we all have our different business models and base it on different markets or different brands or different positionings. But I think the wineries in the South African environment anyway, and it could relate to other businesses in other countries. If your business model was sound and you had an integrated business model where you, in our case, where we produce, where we process and where we market to a specific customer, not much has changed about that other than maybe regulatory changes or traveling that's restricted. And there's always alternatives available. So I believe the businesses, big or small, that have a market for their product, I think they will be best suited for the future in wine. I think wineries that sold wine in bulk predominantly to excess countries when and how required, to local wholesalers when and how required, they might be in for a bit of distress and concerns in their model. So definitely one of the things that's standing strong for us is that we believe we understand our customers. We believe we understand the world of wine to a large extent. We learn all the time, but we can at any time consider the alternatives when a black swan event like this occurs. And an example maybe is when we were closed down last year for 4.5 months, we could very quickly, not easily, but very quickly, we could actively pursue the online channel. And that has been amazing for us over the past 12 months as a let's say, can I say, a softener for the reality of lockdown. We could make that channel active. We could develop it from a small base to something significant, which we continuously will be working on. We do non-alcoholic wines, almost zero and absolute zero de-alcoholized wines. In our local prohibition, it actually was good for us to be able to market and sell that as a proposition to customers. So yes, I think any size business, depending on your model and your market, those with a market will definitely be better off today than those not with a market historically.
So, our industry, especially alcohol industry in this part of the world, is full of myth. And I feel the same for South Africa also. So tell me your personal experience, if you bust any of the myth in our industry.
Malay, yes, funny one. There's obviously, I mean, the normal myths about the red wine paradox, etc. But I think the interesting one that relates to us and the Four Cousins is that it's a myth, and it's almost an urban legend in conversations. My mother attended a function many years ago, and there the story was that one of the cousins have passed on, or the other one is that the four cousins are actually they don't exist. They're just a function of the imagination. So yeah, that definitely is a exciting myth about the. I wouldn't say exciting, but a myth about the brand Four Cousins. Yeah, we are, as we said earlier, two sets of brothers. We are very much fortunate to be in the business. We're all alive, and yeah, hopefully that may continue for a while to come. So yeah, now there is a myth from the Four Cousins consumer that we actually don't exist. And when consumers meet us and have that opportunity, it's amazing the celebrity status that we have because of the fact that we've put our names and our faces on a brand. So yeah, I think that's a wonderful part of the brand strength of Four Cousins.
The four real cousins, right?
Four real cousins, yeah.
Nice,
we unfortunately not as young as we were. You'll see the pictures on the bottle. That was taken 22 years ago. So we're struggling to keep up with time. Yeah. So that we'll maybe bring out a matured cousin red wine at some point or something like that. We'll still figure it out.
So it's no more a myth. Four Cousins stands for four real cousins, right?
Absolutely, no myth and no urban legend, but it's a good story.
Interesting. Awareness and alcohol, awareness and wine, I think they go hand on hand. So, it is very, very crucial for us to spread the awareness about alcohol, or to spread the awareness about wine. So, it's not only for the end consumer, but for the trade also. So how you play around this awareness thing for your brands, may it be Loveren, may it be Four Cousins, may it be Christina or anyone?
Yeah, you're very right, and it's extremely important that we need to be aware of what's happening in our own world of wine, but also in the larger world of wine. And part of the conversation we've linked onto with COVID, I think the fact that we are aware, acutely aware of our surroundings, of our realities, but also the larger South African market and international market, means that we can make important decisions, not just based on a whim, but we can do it with informed knowledge. And again, we can utilize that by adapting and being agile quickly. And I think what we do within our business model is many wineries speak of innovation all the time, and you obviously innovate out of the fact that you are aware of certain things that are happening. But innovation can also be sometimes used too much or too easy. I think we like to refer to it more as entrepreneurial skill, where we try and unlock innovation, because if innovation does not lead to a commercial success, it's just a grandiose idea, if I can put it that way. But by being aware of what's happening, as I've said, around us, we can venture into avenues such as organic wine, the non-alcoholic wines. In South Africa, we've got our own empowerment story with regards to transformation, our political history. So all these realities, consumer realities and market realities, and maybe even political realities, play a role in your decision making when you want to innovate and take that to the table as an entrepreneurial and commercial success.
So now, Phillip, tell me, what is your personal choice of alcohol, but not the alcohol you are producing?
My immediate thought goes to a non-alcoholic beer, and it's one of the popular ones. It's Heineken. So the last 2 years I had done my own 6 weeks of a sabbatical of wine and alcohol, and outside of Loveren, I would say it's a non-alcoholic beer of Heineken.
Interesting. this episode is powered by Champagne Laurent Perrier. So, tell me your experience about Laurent Perrier.
Yeah, it's not something that we find regularly in South Africa. It is available. I've enjoyed it myself. I mean, it's a rich tradition. I think 200 years old. The Laurent Perrier brand or the estate, elegant, finesse, premium quality. So yeah, it shouts all the right words and noises with regards to what they propose as a brand to their customers. So yeah, just respect for what they've achieved.
Nice. I think this is one of the image-wise, they are one of the best champagne from for the world from France.
Yeah. If I might ask you, is it popular in India?
Yeah, it's very popular in India.
Yeah.
Last but not the least, Philip, as for you, what is the definition of a successful brand?
Wow, yeah, that is an interesting one. Someone mentioned to me in a discussion a month or so ago that a brand is a promise kept, and I liked what I heard. And yes, in the world of wine and the world of consumerism, there are so many brands. So to try and differentiate your brand from the competitions or from another region or world in wine is not that easy. So if we can start with keeping our promise, if our innovative idea got created into a product that we want to sell to the consumer, we need to be confident with that message and proposition all the time, be that our premium Christina range, be that Van Loveren, be that Four Cousins, as we've discussed, or be that a non-alcoholic product. So yes, a successful brand is that, a promise kept, but it's also something that can add value to your business. If it unfortunately needs to be commercialized. If you can't commercialize it, then we would have to have locked our doors earlier during COVID or completely. So yeah, a brand can not only be a lovely story, it has to be a lovely story, but also with commercial value.
That's interesting. Nice to know your view about a successful brand. Philip, thank you so very much for your time. And interesting to know your views about what we discussed. Legionaries is, a platform where we keep, motivating people towards the brighter side of the same situation. So thank you for your for your insight, for sharing with us, and looking forward to see you in person soon. Thank you very much.
Hopefully sooner than later, Malay. Thank you for having me, and it was lovely chatting to you. And good luck with your program.
Thank you. Ciao.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.